Hi, fellow travelers, Sandra here, and welcome to another video. So thanks for tuning in. I would like to speak about how we at Journey to Authentic Living define living authentically. And living authentically is synonymous with being authentic. This video is also an invitation to contemplate more about what it means for you to begin your journey to understand more yourself and your personal development, and also to understand more the work we do here at JTAL and the solutions that we provide. As you watch this video, you'll hear authentic living definitions weaved into this video that I believe embrace the philosophy behind JTAL. Now, first, I often hear people associate being authentic with being blunt with others. And it also seems to be a one-way direction. So let me give you some examples that are attached to what some people believe means being authentic and that I often hear. So it sounds something like, I just have to call her out on that, or I have to tell them like it is, or I just need to tell them the truth, right? Although we value honesty, of course, this kind of honesty is a smaller part of authentic living. It's first about being authentic with ourselves. We have to experience authentic living within ourselves before we believe ourselves experts of someone else's life. We can never know another's journey in fullness because simply it's not ours. When we ground ourselves more in our authenticity, we have less of a need to prove ourselves to others or to have to just tell them what we think they should know in the name of authenticity. You often hear me talk about healthy boundaries as well. Healthy boundaries are not just establishing them towards others, but we also benefit from watching ourselves with others. That is, not stepping on their boundaries. And this is why we come to the conclusion of how people define being authentic with bluntness. So I want to go ahead and transition now to how to live authentically and what it means to us here at JTAL. A very important aspect into how to live and become more authentic is indeed a process. It means to uncover who we think we are by examining our beliefs and values, examining our thoughts and emotions. So it's a loop. One is not separate from the other. Even though our emotions and thoughts live on different planes, they are interconnected. They're like siblings. So the process of self-examination and, quite frankly, the practice of self-examination gives us the rewards of living a purposeful, rewarding, fulfilling, satisfying, creative life, regardless of illness and disability, whether that illness or disability is psychological or physical, regardless of age, regardless of financial and educational status. And how we begin the journey is more of a call to action, because it's not always like we wake up one day and say, okay, I'm off into this personal development journey. The call to action usually occurs in two main ways. One, which is less popular, and that is through curiosity. So, for example, I personally am a very curious person since I was a child. I've liked plunging myself into adventure, especially within my imagination, with my learning, my inner life. I have a very enriching inner life, even to this day, due to the fact that I'm curious. And life also has dealt me a very interesting set of cards. So I feel blessed that my philosophical and value system enables me to have a warrior spirit to buffer some of the most challenging experiences a person can go through, quite frankly. The second way, and really the number one way in which a person meets their call to action, is during a crisis of some sort. In the call to action stage, we recognize we're not thriving, we're not happy, we're not satisfied with our life or with different aspects of our life. We're suffering, right? And we may not be able to specifically identify or label the deeper meaning of what makes this so. So when we decide to embark on our journey to authentic living, the clues are there. The gems to our self-discovery are already there. They exist in us simply because the gems and clues are our suffering. And the relationships and environment in which we live draw the suffering from us so that we can see it. They provide insight of what hurts, of what is not working, what we don't value, what we do value. So the suffering is the catalyst for change, for deep transformation, thus our inner journey. And the Egyptian motive that I posted in the beginning of this video is called an Ouroboros, and it represents birth and death. It represents a lot of things, but just to cut it short, it's birth and death, right? So it's a reminder about personal transformation. In order to change things even within us, something must die, something must end in order to birth into new ways of being. The clues and gems I was speaking about enable us to begin to understand the feelings, the thoughts, behaviors, and habits behind our unfulfilled or what seems to be our purposeless life. And this is tightly woven in something called conditioning. Conditioning is a psychological or psychology term used by behaviorists, and some of the most famous behaviorists were Skinner and Pavlov, and they studied behavior through animals. The concept of conditioning is not new. It's not just in psychology. It's also in Eastern philosophies, like in Buddhist philosophy or traditions. And its concept is familiar with a lot of our great sages around the world. Right? The journey to authentic living is all about deconditioning or deprogramming, if you want to use that word, if it's more familiar to you. It is about aspects of us that have been deeply conditioned by society, family, and the world at large, and that continue influencing us, most often unbeknownst to us because they are unconscious aspects of our person hidden from us in a way. And so it kind of is, if we knew the root cause of all of our pain and suffering on the different planes, on our emotional, on our thought process and everything, well then we probably wouldn't be human, probably wouldn't be here. So whether you're a famous celebrity, whether you're a guru, whether you write books, or you're a homeless person, all influenced by conditioning. So it's really important to take a look at this. Let me just give you some banal examples on what might be deconditioning. So, when we don't follow family tradition anymore, when, we were raised in a certain religion and we were practicing that religion, and then we wake up one day and say, why am I practicing this religion? I want to go outside of that. And those would be some examples of deconditioning, right? You're not following the status quo, but not because you want to be rebellious for the sake of it. It just doesn't resonate with you anymore. It's not part of who you are. So self-discovery and getting to know who you are is part of that. Or you may discover, this does fit me, either way. So not all conditioning is negative, right? We have, for example, some good conditioning would be when we have good manners or respectful of other people. Things like this would be some good conditioning. So, authentic living encompasses also something greater, our potential, the potential to thrive, to live fulfilling and rewarding lives. We are all here to fulfill our potential, even though we might not know exactly what that is. We all have a unique potential that is unlike anyone else. The call to action also means that we must go through some discomfort, some suffering as well, but we are already suffering, right? And so sometimes people try to run away from this, or they escape it, or again, it's just, it's not known, they're not aware of it, they're not really in touch with themselves as much to understand why they're unfulfilled, for example. Anything that makes you stretch and grow from where you are is personal development. It's part of the deconditioning process. And that is why in mythology, the metaphor is referred to as the hero's journey. And we see this often throughout all cultures through time. We see this in the holy books of the world, and we see this in literature, for example, right? We see the heroine or the hero set off. And it doesn't mean that we necessarily literally need to get on a boat and embark on some journey, but it's just a metaphor to explain how things need, how we want to be able to grow and change. And so the Odyssey is something that the story, I love the Odyssey. And that is a good example of, Ulysses, when he set off. So that would be a good example of the hero's journey. There's a lot of life lessons to glean from that story if some of you feel called to read it or to read it again. It's a long one, right? But the Greeks really had it. They really knew a lot about the hero's journey. So authentic living means observing our behaviors and our thoughts. And it's about taking a look at yourself, and that's how we would begin it, really. How do we begin to live fulfilling and rewarding lives, and it begins with us. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please do comment below or contact me if you would like me to expand on anything. And thank you again for subscribing to our channel here. And if you know of anyone who would like to learn more about authentic living, please send them our way. And in the meantime, I'm wishing all of you a blessed journey. Thank you.